off together. Do you think Viserys would have been forgiving for that, or what do you think would have happened at that point?
Well, I think that he really did love her. You don't get that hurt over something, over, losing a shred of honor, I don't think, So for me, it was more he got his heart broken hard for the first time. I mean, we've all been through it, right? They always say, they had that one song, the first cut is the deepest, right? So when you have that first heartbreak, you take it the hardest of all the ones that will follow. And I think that was an unfortunate moment of him giving up a bit of like who he was and putting what he worked his whole life for at risk for this woman, and putting his heart out there just to and not come to fruition in the way he desired, because he wanted, he even said, let's do a marriage for love, instead of this political nonsense. So I think he really loved her intensely and passionately. And I even part of me thinks that she may have reciprocated most of those feelings, maybe not as intensely, but she wanted to make sure they could maintain relationships. And I saw their relationship growing closer as the episodes passed from number 1 through here to number 5. So I do think that it was a true love scenario. He felt the love emotions, and it wasn't just because he's like, darn it, I done screwed up my vows. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely think it was more so he thought that their love would overcome what her duties were. And to the second part of your debate, if they did decide to run for it and go with those piles of oranges on the boats and ships, I think that they would have been pursued, if not by Viserys himself later on throughout the years after Viserys died, because at that point in time, if she drops her claim to the throne or whatever, she's still alive and it's still a threat, and she's still got a dragon and can come back at any time and still cause a problem or pose a threat. And because of that, I don't believe Otto, I don't want to say anything because whatever, but my point being is there's some people that come back into power and into play here as these shows go on, or on the episodes go on, and I don't think he would have, and they would have, if we talk about, like you said, we mentioned this is where we kind of first see Team Green, right? When the Old Town said we have, we stand by your side, Queen Alicent here. So I don't believe they could have allowed Rhaenyra to live. So they would probably have pursued them through Essos and the Free Cities and try to eliminate any potential challenge, even though they got what they wanted with Aegon on the throne here at this point, because that's what would have happened if they would have ran off. Aegon would have took the throne. I don't think they would have lived happily ever after. I definitely think that they would have been they would have been pursued, and they would try to kill them. And on top of that as well, not even just from that side of things, where it comes to the Team Green versus the Rhaenyra here at this moment in Essos, but when we got to think about what would happen with Daemon, like where does he come into play if these people run off together? If Rhaenyra and Criston Cole run off, at some point maybe he just gets like, he's like, hell no, and maybe he thinks it's more of a he kidnapped her type deal, and then all of a sudden you got Daemon on Kristen's ass, and like, I don't know, dude. And then you got like Caraxes and Syrax having like this little conflict. Maybe if he goes there and he tries to take her back, and Criston doesn't have, like, who knows? Like, it just could be a whole pile of shit, but like in a fun way to watch on screen. Don't get me wrong. Like, I would still tune in for that, but I don't think it's gonna. Yeah, obviously he had no, like you mentioned, he had no plan. It was just like, yeah, let's just go and like, whatever happens. Like, no, dude, like you guys are gonna put yourselves in danger for the rest of your life, and if you don't have a plan, you're fucked. So that's kind of my take on it, is that they would not be living happily ever after. They would have threats on their life consistently until they finally did pass away from old age, or if one of the attempts on their life were successful. That's my thoughts on it there. I don't know. What do you think about it?
I agree with you 100%. I mean, I wonder what his thought process was there. Like, jump ship and like swim to safety. Like, where was he gonna go? Were they gonna hop ship, like jump ship and swim to the next island, and then kind of go from island to island and try to get to his patches of oranges? I just don't know what went through his head. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I think he truly did love her, because no one breaks down like that unless you're truly in love. And especially, I don't want to give anything away, but how it affects him for a long period of time. I think it would have been fun to watch on screen, but it definitely would have taken this storyline off course. Like, talk about going off the rails there. Like, it definitely would have taken it off course. Not only I think she would have been disinherited, but just like you were saying, you would have had probably Otto and these people probably track her down as like assassins and stuff.